Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the time. I appreciate it. Mr. Dang, thank you for your testimony. Welcome to Washington, D.C.
Thank you. My pleasure.
It's great to see you. As you know, I'm also from Pennsylvania, served in the legislature, in the state senate for 8 years, and so I'm familiar with the work of your organization. You've been a tremendous resource to the legislature in Pennsylvania. And Senator Yaw, the chairman, is a good friend. In fact, I sat next to him in our caucus for much of the time that I spent there. So really great to hear from you.
Thank you.
Senator Yaw, I know in your organization you did a lot of work, hearings all across the state, really bringing an awareness to this issue a number of years ago when you started the work that was so valuable to all of us, and we've had a lot of conversations in caucus, in the state senate in regards to how we can respond. And, you know, just the magnitude of this is hard to imagine at times, and I'm just repeating what you said in your testimony. 4,642 Pennsylvanians died in 2016 as a result of drug overdose, with thousands more affected by addiction, either personally or through family, friends, coworkers, employees, or neighbors. That was an increase of 37% from 2015, when, as you mentioned, 13 people died each day of a drug-related overdose. Just specifically my area, in 2016, my district includes portions of 3 counties. Lancaster averaged 22.3 deaths per 100,000 people. Chester County averaged 19.4, and Berks County 28.4 overdose deaths per 100,000 people. It's just absolutely devastating to our communities. One of the takeaways that I always heard from Senator Yaw, and you mentioned here this morning, is there are no simple short-term solutions. In fact, there's no silver bullet here. To solve this, and you know, we think it can be solved, but it'll take a number of solutions, a broad range of solutions, from enforcement to treatment, to you mentioned drug courts, which have been particularly effective in my area. We did a number of pieces of legislation at the state level as a result of the hearings that you have done. One of those you mentioned was a prescription drug monitoring program, and as with any new program, there was pushback. It, of course, was additional work for every party, including medical doctors, pharmacies, and all. But I'm curious, how well do you think it's working, and are there ways that we should improve a program of that type?
Thank you. The office of the PDMP is right next door to my office, so I do meet with them on a regular basis. It is working in Pennsylvania. I don't have the figure in front of me, but I know that the director has talked in numerous occasions about the thousands of pounds of opioids that have been stopped because of the PDMP and the doc shopping that was occurring, and so that's been critical. There is interest in revisiting the prescription drug monitoring program to tighten it up a little bit. We had one doctor who oversees a residency program, and he would like language that allows someone to query the querier, to kind of a checks and balance as to who is checking into the system and using that type of thing. Some comments that we've heard that dentists should be required to subscribe to that. Dentists prescribe opioids, and from a medical standpoint, often opioids are not what is needed to deal with pain from a dental procedure. So there is interest in reopening it. As you know so well, you open any piece of legislation, and it's ripe for a lot of other things to be taken a look at.
And sorry to cut you off, but I'm running close to the end of my time. I'm curious, from your perspective, what is it that we could do at the federal level to help? What would be your number one, number two things that we should be, specific actions that we can do to help communities combat this?
The public face of this epidemic, I think the federal government can play an even greater role in recognizing that it is an epidemic affecting all segments of our society and has direct impact on the economy, on infrastructure, you name it. I think a much stronger face and getting federal agencies, and I see this in Pennsylvania, and state agencies to really work together. Unfortunately, there's still too much siloing in our work to address this epidemic.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I have additional questions. You want me to wait for the second round?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, no,